Okay, welcome in. Now going to be reviewing all of Monday's action from the NHL. There were 6 games on tap. Let's dive right in. As the first matchup took place in Columbus, as we had the Blue Jackets playing host to the Vegas Golden Knights. In the first, Danforth would kick things off for the Blue Jackets 6 minutes and 16 seconds into the period, getting his 10th goal of the year from Corrali and Marinsky. Nylander would increase lead to 2-0, one of the new acquisitions for the Blue Jackets, getting his second goal of the season from Texier and Provorov. Morelli would cut the deficit to 2-1, getting his third of the year from Freeze. And William Karlsson would then tie the game up with 2 minutes remaining on the clock, getting his 22nd goal of the year from Chandler Stevenson and Nick Hague. After 20 minutes of play, we're all tied up at 2. In the second period, with 2 minutes and 39 seconds remaining, Gudbranson would give the Blue Jackets a 3-2 lead. For him, that would be his fourth goal of the year from Johnny Gaudreau and Boone Jenner. After 40 minutes of play, it was 3-2 in favor of the Jackets. Nylander would increase lead to 4-3, getting his third of the season from Cody Sillinger, 3 minutes and 23 seconds into that period. Chandler Stevenson would cut the deficit to 4-3 with 9 minutes and 44 seconds to go, his 14th of the season from Shea Theodore and Amadio. Chinnikov would increase lead to 5-3 with 8 minutes and 40 seconds to go, his 16th of the year from Marchenko and Jamie Bean, I should say. Nylander would get a natural hat trick for the Columbus Blue Jackets, getting his fourth goal of the year, assisted by Texier, and that goal happened with 1 minute and 11 seconds to go. So 6-3 would be the final score in favor of the Blue Jackets. So with the win, they're 21-30-10, still the worst team in the Eastern Conference. And with the loss, the Vegas Golden Knights are now in a wild card position with a record of 33-22-7. And it's hard to believe how far they've fallen from grace. Yes, injuries played a factor, but I remember when this team looked like they were going to for sure lock in that second seed, and now they're X amount of points behind the Oilers for that second spot. So it's hard to believe that a team that looked like they were going to be dominant and very competitive could now potentially see themselves as being in a wild card position once the playoffs kick off. All right, the next matchup took place in New York, and we had the Panthers playing against the Rangers. So the Golden Knights are cooling off while the Panthers are just absolutely red hot. And they're going to be very dangerous, I believe, come playoff time. In the first, Cooley would kick things off for the Rangers with 3 minutes and 21 seconds to go, his 11th of the year from Jacob Trouba and Keandre Miller. After 20 minutes of play, it was 1-0 in favor of the Rangers. In the second, Sam Reinhart would get his 43rd goal of the season. This dude's on pace for like 50 goals. So this is insane. It'd be a power play goal, 9 minutes and 49 seconds remaining, is assisted by Barkov and Verhaeghe. He would then get his 44th goal of the year, assisted by Barkov and Forsling with 6 minutes and 4 seconds remaining on the clock, making it 2-1 in favor of the Panthers. Chris Kreider would tie the game up with 4 minutes and 34 seconds remaining on the clock, getting his 31st goal of the year from Trocheck and Panarin. In the third, Lomberg would give the Panthers a 3-2 lead, 6 minutes, 11 seconds into the frame, getting his 5th goal of the year, assisted by Forsling. Lundell would ice the game with just under a minute to go, his 9th goal of the year from Ekman Larsson, and for Lundell, that would be his 9th goal of the season. 4-2 would be the final score in favor of the Panthers. So with that, they're sitting at 42-16-4, first in the Atlantic Division. Speaking of being first, despite the loss, the Rangers are 40-18-4. They're first in the Metropolitan Division. All right, the next matchup took place in Philadelphia, where we had the St. Louis Blues, and they were playing against the Philadelphia Flyers. All right, let's take a look and see how this game went. So in the first period, Scott Laughton would kick things off for the Flyers late in that period, just 1 minute and 8 seconds remaining on the clock. That would be a 10th goal of the year from Ryan Poehling and Sanheim. Kevin Hayes, playing against his former team, would tie the game up at 1 with 4 minutes and 13 seconds to go on the clock. For Hayes, that would be his 12th goal of the year, assisted by Kapanen. The game would need extra time to decide this one. Unfortunately, it would take till a shootout to decide a winner. No goals were scored in the overtime, and Pavel Buchnevich would give the Blues a 2-1 victory over the Philadelphia Flyers. So with that, the St. Louis Blues are sitting at 32, 26, and 3, still out of the playoff spot. And as for the Flyers, despite the shootout loss, I should say, they are 32, 23, and 8. They are currently sitting third in that Metropolitan Division. All right, the next matchup took place in Toronto, where we had the Maple Leafs, and they were playing against the Boston Bruins. So an original six matchup. Always intriguing. All right, let's take a look and see how this game went. So in the first period, Morgan Geekie would kick things off 9 minutes and 43 seconds into that frame, getting his 14th goal of the year from David Pastrnak and Laurie. Pavel Zacha would get a power play goal with 7 minutes and 18 seconds to go on the clock, getting his 13th of the year from Pastrnak and Jake DeBrusk. Speaking of DeBrusk, he got a goal scorer sheet in the second period, increasing the lead to 3-0, getting his 14th of the year from Charlie Coyle and Brad Marchand. In the third period, John Tavares would get his 19th goal of the year, cutting the deficit to 3-1, assisted by Riley and Labushkin. And then Pavel Zacha would ice the game at that point with just 9 minutes and 25 seconds remaining, getting his 14th of the year from Pastrnak and Heinen. For Zacha, that'd be his second goal of the game as well. 4-1 would be the final score in favor of the Bruins. So with the win, the Bruins are sitting at 36, 12, and 15, sitting second in that Pacific Division, while the Toronto Maple Leafs are right behind them in third place with a record of 35, 18, and 8. If these two teams squared off in the postseason, it would not disappoint, to say the least. All right, the next matchup took place in Colorado, where we had the Avalanche, and they were playing host to the Chicago Blackhawks. All right, let's take a look and see how this game went. So in the first period, Nathan McKinnon would kick things off for the Avalanche with 7 minutes and 29 seconds remaining on the clock. His 38th goal of the year from Devin Tays and Cale Makar. Jonathan Drouin would increase the lead to 2-0, getting his 11th goal of the season from Ross Colton and Sam Girard. And that goal happened with 2 minutes and 38 seconds to go in the period. After 20 minutes of play, it was 2-0 in favor of the Avs. And in the second period, Cale Makar would increase the lead to 3-0 with 7 minutes and 22 seconds to go. His 14th of the year from McKinnon and Mikko Rantanen. With 2 minutes and 22 seconds remaining, Zach Parise would get his 4th goal of the season from Caleb Jones and Nathan McKinnon, making it 4-0 in favor of the Avalanche. And in the third, Nathan McKinnon would get a power play goal with 4 minutes and 25 seconds remaining on the clock. And that would be a not a hat trick, just the second goal of the game. His 39th of the season from Jonathan Drouin and Arturi Lehkonen, 5-0 at that point in favor of Colorado. So with the win, the Avalanche are sitting at 38, 20, and 5. They currently have the third spot in the Central Division, while the Chicago Blackhawks are 16, 41, and 5, still the worst team in the NHL. So I'm sure they're looking forward to this upcoming draft. All right. The last game from Monday took place in Calgary, where we have the Seattle Kraken, and they were playing against the Flames. All right, let's take a look and see how this game unfolded. So in the first period, we kick things off for the Seattle Kraken, 4 minutes and 4 seconds into that frame, getting his 8th goal of the year from Tanev and Vince Dunn. In the second period, Kuzmenko would tie the game up, at 1, getting a power play goal. For him, that'd be his 12th goal of the year from Nazem Kadri and Jonathan Huberdeau. Oliver Bjorkstrand would give the Seattle Kraken a 2-1 lead with 7 minutes and 26 seconds remaining on the clock. That'd be his 16th goal of the year from Jake McCann and Jaden Schwartz. After 40 minutes of play, it was 2-1 in favor of the Kraken. In the third period, just 21 seconds into that frame, Adam Larson would get his 4th goal of the year from Beniers and Jordan Eberle, making it 3-1 at that point. Kuzmenko would cut the deficit to 3-2, getting his 2nd goal of the game and his 13th of the season from Rasmus Anderson and Nazem Kadri. That goal happened with 7 minutes and 46 seconds to go on the clock. Despite the fact that the Flames had a late power play, Jake McCann would strike, getting a shorthanded goal, and for him, that'd be his 26th goal of the season, increasing the lead to 4-2, and that's where it stands at the end of regulation. So with the victory, the Kraken are sitting at 28, 22, and 11, still on the outside looking in when it comes to the playoffs. And speaking of playoffs, it's very unlikely that the Flames are going to make it, despite a record of 30, 26, and 5. All right, that takes care of my recap from Monday's action of the NHL. As always, if you're new to this channel and you like this type of content, please feel free to sub button. I'd be very grateful and very appreciative. Until next time, take care.